You know, throughout the centuries, mankind has always been fascinated with the supernatural, and sometimes it leads them into dark places. Well, on this episode of Paranormal Investigations of Oklahoma, I want to focus more on our youth of today. And there's a lot of peer pressure out there, and there's a lot of problems when it comes down to social media. And one of those problems is the summoning of demons.
Reaching beyond the borders into the unknown. Welcome to Paranormal Investigations of Oklahoma.
Wow, these lockers bring back a lot of memories. And what it reminds me of is I used to be a youth. I used to be a teenager, just the same as you. And the reason why I made this podcast is to inform you about the dangers of summoning spirits and summoning demons. Now, a big trend's going on right now on Facebook and social media, and it's a game called Charlie Charlie.
Ready? Oh, okay. Ready? Charlie, Charlie, show me a sign.
Charlie, Charlie, are you there? Oh my gosh, what the fuck, show me a sign. Oh, okay, now the glass book, I'm leaving.
Charlie, obviously not here. He don't want to play with y'all. Charlie, are you here? He don't want to play with y'all. Bro. Charlie, can we play?
Shaky. Guys, get over here. Get over here.
Say it at the same time.
What are you
3,
gonna
2, 1.
Charlie, Charlie.
Are you here?
Yo, we out here right before bed, summoning Mexican demons and shit. Charlie, Charlie, are you here? Oh my.
Charlie, are you here?
Is it moving? I want to.
Charlie, Charlie, can we play? Oh my.
Youth across the nation and around the world are engaging in a Ouija board-like ritual in the attempt to summon a demon. According to reports, this Charlie Charlie challenge involves a Mexican occult ritual of writing yes and no on a sheet of paper and the crossing of 2 pencils. The ritual is stated to be a type of rite for Mexican children. Charlie, Charlie, are you there? Those sitting around the paper chant, and then they wait to see if the pencils move to either yes or no. If yes, those ask the demon questions, and they see if the demon responds. The challenge has gone viral over the past week, with a number of teenagers posting videos of themselves engaging in this Ouija board-like practice. Some are reacting in fear, and some are thinking it's humorous, and they use chicken bones and beer bottles for the ritual. Youth respond with reports of hearing eerie voices and seeing strange sights, and some warn others to stay away from the challenge. A young girl named Dakota made a statement that she could hear strange noises coming from her room. She said she went to wash the dishes after the challenge. When I walked back into my room, the Bible fell onto the floor face down. I told myself it must be the cat, but I remembered my mom just took the cat to the vet. So I said, forget the dishes, I'll do them tomorrow. And then I heard a whisper coming from the living room. Another child reported, we felt like we were being surrounded by evil, and we were being watched. Zodi from Texas claimed that he saw a man, a figure of a man at the top of his stairs, and this thing had black and red eyes. One girl from the UK said that she asked the demon if he would kill her, and he responded yes. After her friends left the home, The power went out. But she looked out the window and noticed that the lights were working at the other houses on her street. When she attempted to call her parents, the battery died on her cell phone. Some are now warning to stay away from the challenge, noting that it's not a game, and it's very dangerous to open yourself up to demonic.
Now I know what you're thinking. Come on, Kale, you're a paranormal researcher. You know things like Ouija boards and the Charlie game are easily explainable and easily debunkable. And you know what? You're right. You know, the Charlie game, when you're laying the two pencils across, more likely it's your breath that's causing the items to move. And the Ouija boards, yeah, muscle movement can cause the thing to move. You got two people's hands on there, subconsciously somebody's moving it. But a lot of times you do have to think about your inner self, and you have to think about yourself spiritually. And with the youth of today, they're very susceptible to negativity, and anything they see on the internet or see what their friends are doing, they want to mock it, and they want to try it for themselves. But just don't take my word for it. Hey, let me clean up here and get this TA wrapped up, and let's go talk to some experts out in the field who deal with spiritual stuff. Hey, how you doing, man? Good. Wonder if you can help me out with something.
Sure. Come on.
Hey, Harlan, I'm glad you got to meet up with me. I got a lot of questions, and I know there's different religious beliefs. There's a lot of different viewpoints when it comes with demonic entities and demons, and I mainly want to talk to you and get your point of view. I don't know if you heard about this game that teenagers are playing, and it's called Charlie. And the basics of it is they got a piece of paper that says yes and no on it, and they got two pencils that are crossed, and they're trying to summon a demon and get a demon's response. And some of the videos, you know, it's hard to tell if it's been faked or not, but you know, different things are happening. And I want the audience to know there's actual dangers.
There are a lot of dangers.
Yeah, there's a lot of dangers if you're trying to summon, especially a demon or negative energy, because there can be bad repercussions.
Yes. The thing about that is doing these things, trying to summon demons. I myself, I don't believe that there's such things as demons. There's positive and negative energy. There's everything in the spectrum. It's all energy. Everything's energy. So I really have no belief in demons myself per se. There's light and there's dark. That doesn't mean there's good and bad. There's really no such thing as good and bad. There's shades of everything in between, light and dark. So it's energy. Everything is energy. But when people go into doing something like this with the aspect of it being a game, or not really knowing how to protect themselves from energies, they invite things to them, and they invite the negative. when they're going in and trying to summon what they say is a demon, they're summoning negative energies or negative entities. It's not necessarily demonic. It is negative, and it does have repercussions if you don't know exactly what you're doing, or if you don't know how to protect yourself in a loving way. And most of these kids that are doing these things are doing these because they think it's fun. They take it as a game and not as something serious. What this game looks like to me is it looks like a form of dowsing, which can be done in many different ways. So from the board, the simple board that you're talking about, to the spirit boards, to the Ouija boards, and that's a whole other subject, because Ouija board has been marketed for so long as a game. People think that it's a game, and it's not. It is actually serious business. So it is summoning spirits per se. But as for demon, I'm not on board with the demon thing. I know that I have moved along many negative energies, and the way the movies have portrayed demons are these beings that are just so powerful and monstrous, and none of the negative energies are ever that powerful. Light and love and all of the good things, all the positives, will always win out over the negatives. So when you protect yourself with the light and you go into talking and learning things and dowsing, you're protected from the negative. But when they go into it as a game, there's no protection.
Yes.
And they bring in the negative. So then they have issues from that point on.
Well, for me as a paranormal researcher, I've tried dowsing before, from dowsing rods to, the pendulums. You use the pendulums.
Right.
And your pendulum boards look very similar. I'll throw a picture out here up on the screen here. That way you can see it. Harlan's got these pendulums.
Right.
Pendulum boards here that you sell. But it all boils down to how you using the board.
Right, exactly. And when I sell a board, I make sure that the person knows what it's for. I make sure they know how to protect themselves. I make sure they know. Don't ask a question that you really truly don't want the answer to.
Right.
Because you're going to get an answer. So be careful about what you are asking. Always put a white light protection around yourself before you do any dowsing. When you go out on an investigation, you do spiritual cleansing of yourself before you go into a place that's supposed to be haunted. You protect yourself with that white light. You put a bubble around yourself, and you have your protection. I know I do when I go into places, and that's just the norm. And if you are a teenager or a child that are looking at this as a game, you don't know to protect yourself. You're inviting things to come and invade your space.
And children are more vulnerable to
Right.
to evil spirits and to negative energies.
And the thing about energies, energies or spirits cannot invade your space unless they're invited. And that's the thing about these, what they're calling games, is these kids are inviting these energies into their space. And they're not protecting themselves in the process.
Yeah, I don't remember what episode it was, but there was a TV show I was watching, and they had an interview with a family where these kids went out to a cemetery and they were using a Ouija board, which is similar to the Charlie game. They were trying to summon a spirit, and they had negative effects. And people don't realize that when you summon something and you're leaving yourself open, you're leaving yourself open for possession. Now, possession is very, very rare. Even for ghost hunting, demonic cases are very, very rare. You never know when you're going to get a call like that, but most of the time, claimed demonic stuff is normally not demonic. It may be an angry spirit or upset spirit, but it's never really demonic.
Well, and the thing is since this movie came out, the Ouija board, that they've capitalized on, that Hollywood has capitalized on. A lot of teenagers have been using the Ouija boards again, and I've had a lot of cases come into the shop where they've had attachments, where they have used a Ouija board, where they have invited something into their space and it's attached to them. It's not necessarily demonic. Most of the churches that deal with demonic spirits, or what they call demonic spirits, and they do exorcisms, they won't send out a priest to do an exorcism unless it is demonic. So with me, I am a priest. I do exorcisms also. But I don't believe in demonic. I've never seen any possession that has actually been demonic. Most of them have been angry spirits, or spirits that just were lost and didn't know where to go. And they saw somebody's bright light and they just wrapped themselves around because they were invited. You have to invite something into your space before they can actually invade your space. And that's what these kids are doing, is they're inviting these things into their space. Whether they're demonic or not, whether there is such a thing as demonic or not, they're inviting whatever that energy is to invade their space.
Yes.
So it attaches. And then the only way to get rid of that is through an exorcism of sorts, and the child or the person has to be involved in that in a way where that they are saying this thing that is there with them is no longer welcome. It cannot be in this space anymore. They have to repeatedly say this while the energy is being put. So I've done a lot of these over the last few months since this movie came out. People just coming in off the street saying they've got problems, they've got issues with something that's wrapped around them, or they've been getting drained and not knowing why.
That happened today.
Yeah.
I was in the shop with Harlan, and one of his customers came in and talked about one of her roommates used a Ouija board, and now she's having negative effects in the home. And that's something else to think about. You may be using the board, or you may be doing your Charlie game, or using something for the wrong reasons, a negative, people, when they think of demonic or sinning, it's the perversion of something. So when somebody's using something negative, you're perverting it, you're twisting it, you're changing that energy to good, to evil. And like with her friend was using a Ouija board inside her own bedroom. She didn't realize it. She thought this girl was changing clothes, and realized, what are you doing? You're in my space. You're in my room, my sanctuary, and you're using a Ouija board. And
to top it all off, she left the Ouija board there.
Yes, she left the board there. Now, the girl that was using the board, now we don't know if anything's happening to her, but the woman living inside the home, she's having paranormal activity. And she's having negativity. She's waking up seeing someone staring at her. She can't sleep. All this negativity. And what usually happens is, they come to you, they come to us as ghost hunters or paranormal researchers, investigators, reverends, priests, to try to figure out, hey, how do I fix this? And you had to counsel her a little bit about how to cleanse the home, sage the home, And always remember, folks, whatever your religious belief is, we're not here on the show to bash religion. That's not what it's about. The purpose is, I want to show you how negative this stuff can be. You see it all over the other TV shows and stuff about how evil and how unnecessary some of this stuff is. And it's horrible to feel and have all this activity happen around. But you get
and then also you have this stuff happening and you don't know who to share it with. And if you share it with certain people, they look at you like you're crazy, and then they want to put you in a nut house. I mean, sometimes it goes to that extreme.
Yeah.
So these people that are having these things happening, they really don't know who to turn to, and that's the other reason for this also, is so they can find out who to turn to.
And if you're a parent and you're watching the show right now because you're concerned, maybe you found your child using this game, again, whatever your religious belief is, contact a church pastor. Your more pagan belief, contact whatever your religious belief is. This is something you need to talk to your children about. I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not a counselor or anything. I'm just a podcast host, and I run a paranormal team. But I've been on cases, folks, where people have negativity. I recently got a call about a home investigation where they used the Ouija board, and for some freak reason the investigation got canceled. But it was same thing. Movies, internet, social media. Your kids may try this. Your teenage kids, because if their buddy's doing it, they're going to try it too. Dealing with negativity, evil spirits, demonic forces shouldn't be a game, folks. I mean, I know everyone watches their kids, make sure they're not doing drugs or doing anything illegal. Well, on a spiritual sense, you need to do that too. You're king of your castle. You and your partner, you run your family. And I feel like as parents should be able to guide their children into, spiritual things and to protect them.
And you mentioned something about religion and me being pagan. The thing is I'm an ordained minister. I've studied every different religious belief there is. I am an ordained minister through a universalist church, which means all denominational, not just non-denominational. So when I have Catholic priests sending their people over to me for cleansing of a home or for cleansing of a person or for exorcism, and I have another priest from another church, Pentecostal, sending people. I have clients that are of all different beliefs. I've got Mormon clients. I've got, they all are being sent here for their cleansings and anything that they've got that like they feel like they're possessed. They take it to their priest. Well, their priests are not qualified to do anything about it. Right now in the United States, there's only, I believe there's 48 clergy that are with the Vatican in the United States that are classified as exorcism persons that can actually perform exorcisms. Now, there are a number of other priests that are like me that can do this also. The Catholic Church only does exorcisms, and I don't want to, put that out there like that. They only do exorcisms for demonic, what they classify as demonic. Exorcism needs to be done if there's any energies attached to anyone other than their own. So whether it's an evil demonic or what somebody claims is demonic, or whether it's just something is happening that needs to be taken care of. And mainly it stems from sometimes as early as childhood with a traumatic event happening to the child, and they scream out to the universe, "Help me," and something comes and it attaches to them. So you don't even have to play with a game to have attachments. It's as simple as just screaming out for help and not specifying that you invite something in. So it could be as simple as a spirit that says, "I want to help this person," and then they wrap themselves around that person, and all they're doing is draining that person of their energy. So it could be as simple as a spirit that lost their way and couldn't find their way to the light, and seen the light and just got that invite and just wrapped themselves around it. Well, when that happens, it drains the person of all the positive energy, and their life starts falling apart. They start having health issues. They start having other issues That's what happens when you get a possession. And some of the possessions are not even noticeable until you have so many health issues that you're saying, oh no, what happened to me?
Mm-hmm. But, you know, I just want, like I said, I want the audience to know how dangerous it is to be summoning spirits, to, you know, call on forces that you don't understand. I mean, for me, as a paranormal researcher, you know, when I go into investigations, I always keep an open mind. But I don't provoke.
You're right.
I don't tease spirits. You know, it's just wrong. Because you never know what you're going to deal with. I mean, it's so cool to watch the TV shows and see them, you know, provoking and getting responses, but you may get a bad response. You never know what you're getting into. But again, with these games, Charlie, you know, it's no different from what? Bloody Mary. We all remember that game. That was used to be popular. I mean, the dangers of social media, folks, I'm not kidding. You get on there and kids will do anything. We were all that age. We used to be crazy teenagers, and you see something that's cool and you want to try it. Bloody Mary was a big deal, especially, you know, slumber parties and stuff like that. To me, this is similar. If you look at the board, and it's really not a board. It's just a piece of paper that says yes and no on it. And again, I'll throw up another photograph of some of the boards that you have that look similar. But it's kind of the basic idea. It's a form of dowsing. It's a form. It's similar to a Ouija board, but it's all made to try to get contact with spirits and to talk with spirits. And you know, I use a device out in the field called an ovulus.
Right.
It's similar. It's made by Digital Dowsing by Bill Chappell. It's not a promotion for him, but. It's similar. It's just electronic dowsing to speak with spirits. But when I go in and I use the device, like you said, protecting yourself, you know, I'm a Christian. You know, again, this is not the fight over religion. It has nothing to do with religion. But with my religious beliefs, you know, I pray. I pray for protection. Because you never know what you're going to deal with. There could be negative forces or demonic forces out there. And you don't want to open yourself up to that. I've been to locations where I've gotten sick to my stomach and have to leave. And it's just because it's so thick.
I remember one location that we were both on. I'm not going to name the location or anything, but I remember one location that we were both on, and we had some other people that hadn't ever worked with us. We were having good communications. Everything was going good. The energy was high. We were communicating real well with the spirit, and one person started provoking the spirit we were communicating with, and the energy shifted. It got really, really heavy. We got sick to our stomachs. It was like, oh no, we got to stop this right now. We got to get out. And that's what happens when you provoke spirits. I mean, the thing is we were having a very good conversation. Back and forth with this spirit, and there was no call for any provocation. But when the provocation happened, the energy shifted. The spirit got upset, and things started happening different. And it's like, okay, it's time to pull out.
Yeah, we were with the trainee group.
Yeah.
And let's just say that gentleman, he never made it to a paranormal group because he couldn't grasp the point of the provoking part, you know. But again, you know, I just want everyone to know with these games, if you got kids, that it's dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. Like I said, for me, I pray for protection. You know, there's a lot of people that use Ouija boards and never have any ill effects from it. The customer you had walking in, she had negative effects because the person that used it in her home had negative intent.
Right, exactly.
But I mean, like I said, we don't know if the person actually using the board is being affected, but the people in the home are being affected by it.
And the people in the home are being affected, I believe, firmly because the board got left there. The board had an opening, and the opening needs to be closed. When that person was using the board, they opened it up. They opened it up to spirit. So whatever came out of there is there. It's still open. that needs to be closed.
And, I've seen it where, with the boards, the way it's supposed to work with the Ouija boards is once you open up the board, you're supposed to close it and say goodbye.
Right.
A lot of people don't do that.
No, they leave it open.
And for me, I'm not into Ouija boards. I'm not into summoning spirits. And I don't want you to think I'm sounding hypocritical because I'm using a device to try to speak with spirits. The device I'm using is for testing for paranormal. I want to see if this device actually is communicating with spirits, or is it just an expensive speaking spell?
Right.
There was actually, Harlan, a new device that you can download on your tablet.
Really?
And on your cell phone. It's called a Echo Box. I don't know.
Oh, I've heard of that one. Yeah.
Heard of the Echo? Yeah, I was out on an investigation on an old submarine, and we tried it there. And I tell you what, we were getting some interesting hits off it. And it's the same thing. It's a form of dowsing, but it's electronic. But just like anything else, it's just it can be dangerous to use if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
You got to protect yourself.
Well, and also the questions you're asking, you have to really be careful about how you ask the questions on what you're going to get back anyway. Either through the electronic dowsing, or through pendulum work, or through dowsing with the rods, or however you do your dowsing. You've got to be real careful about how you word the words that you're wording when you're asking questions.
Now, one of the videos on YouTube, and you can find anything on YouTube or on the Vines about the Charlie game, and some of the questions they're asking is dangerous questions. They're asking a demon, am I going to die? Are you going to kill me? Are you going to hurt me? Are you going to hurt one of my family members? Yeah, your kids are asking these crazy questions because they think it's a game, and then when that pencil moves, or a pendulum moves, or the placient moves, guess what? You're risking a chance of them getting hurt, or somebody else getting hurt.
Or somebody else getting hurt.
Yeah. And, it's very rare that, somebody gets seriously hurt from using a board or doing the dowsing if they do it in a negative way. But the danger's still there, folks. I just want to let you know. There's been a lot of stories of people dying from car crashes, or getting sick and dying.
After playing with a Ouija board, and that's the key. It's not a toy. It's not to be played with.
And for me, in the field, I don't use Ouija boards. I'll use the dowsing rods on occasion, the electronic stuff. I'm not into the boards. I don't use the pendulums. A lot of you use pendulums on your
These are all tools. They're tools. They're not games. So they're tools that are used to talk with spirits from the beyond.
Yes. Well, hold on. I appreciate it. Again, the audience appreciates it. Everyone needs to know this stuff. And I don't know, call it intervention, God talking to me, or whatever you want to call it. For some reason I had this deep belief I need to let the audience know about this crazy Charlie game. It's just, I've been seeing a lot online. I've just been seeing it all over social media.
Right.
And most of the time when I see these fads, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But this one kind of freaked me out a little bit. And maybe it's because I've been in the paranormal field for a while, but it's the idea of kids. It's one thing if, old Johnny Joe wants to play with a Ouija board, that's kind of on him because he's an adult. Yeah, I'm still concerned about Johnny Joe's safety. But when you're talking about kids, that's a totally different story.
Yes,
Kids are so susceptible to negativity. Again, whatever your religious belief is, if you're a Christian belief, you don't want demonic things around your kids. You don't want it around your family. And, I'd say our world's getting kind of worse. It's just there's a lot of negativity in the world.
And if you look at it, kids 15 years and younger, and adults that are in their elder years are both susceptible to spirit more than anybody else because they have that open crown chakra. They're open to spirit. They're open to the things that are going on. So those are the ones that are most susceptible to anything. And then those of us that have aligned ourselves that maybe in those middle ages are susceptible to it too. Mm-hmm. We just need to be aware that our children are that susceptible to it, and we need to take care of showing them how to protect themselves and showing them that this is not a game.
And again, you know, it all depends on your religious belief of how you feel like you should protect your kids. You know, again, these shows, it's not for bashing religion. Everybody's got different religious beliefs, you know, and if you're a Christian belief, you know, you want to pray for with your kids, you know, that it's just how it works, folks. You know, there's different ways. Every religious belief, I do believe, taps into the paranormal one way or another.
Yes.
A lot of pagan belief. There's a lot of demons in pagan belief. Christianity has demonic, and, you know, the devil and all their demons. I was studying up on Buddhism, and yes, Buddhism has demonic beings in it. If you go and study history, ancient history of different cultures, demonic beings are always around, and they're normally pretty similar. It all boils down to what? Negative energy.
Negative energy, darkness. You know, it boils down to strictly just negative energy. Mm-hmm. Negative energy. One end of the spectrum. Everything is energy. Einstein said that. Mm-hmm. Everything is energy.
Exactly. Well, again, Harlan, thank you so much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into this podcast show. If you get a chance, hit that subscribe button down at the bottom of the screen. You can find me on YouTube at Daily Motion. And if you get a chance, if you're here in Norman, Oklahoma, stop by at Harlan's shop. Yeah, you want to tell them where you're located at?
529 East Main Street, Norman, Oklahoma. And you can Google Bell's Mystical Beginnings. It'll come up on Google Maps and get you right to the doorstep.
Like I said, I appreciate it, and I'll see you folks next time.